Your second line is y is greater than x plus 4. Y is greater than, excuse me. All right, so it's in mx plus b form. So Austin, for the blue line, is it going to be broken or solid?
Broken.
It is going to be broken. When I go to graph that line, where do I start?
The center.
Can someone help Austin?
Two.
2 where?
2 on the positive 2.
There's 2 positive 2s. There's one on the x-axis and one on
X.
the y-axis. Shh. 2 on the y-axis. Now, Austin, what is the slope of that line?
-2. 1. Yeah.
Your slope is -1, and it's understood to be over 1. So what does that tell you?
That tells you that you have to go over 1 and down 1.
The top number is your rise. It's negative, so it means go down 1 unit and then to the right 1 unit. So from your starting point, which is here, you go down 1 and then to the right 1. Austin just said that the line was broken, so we draw a broken line through it. And the shading occurs since it's less than, above, or below the line, Patrick? Below the line, but we don't shade yet because there's a second line that we have to take into consideration. Tyson, where do I start for the red line? 4 where? On this axis?
Yes.
No.
Okay, on the other axis.
This is always the y-intercept. 4 is the y-intercept. You're starting at 4 on the y-axis.
The slope is 1 over 1.
Which means go up 1 and to the right. Is the line solid or broken?
It's broken.
It is broken because it's not equal to, and the shading should take place at the top, above the line. So now we've got to identify which of the 4 regions that we just created has the blue and red arrows facing towards each other. The left. On the left, right here. So here is where my shading is. Okay? That's how you do it. If you can't graph lines, you're going to have problems. Number 16. We have a little problem with number 16. It's not in y equals mx plus b form. Well, let's just put it that way. Very good.
Let me do it. I think I can do it.
No, we're going to give somebody else a chance. Lex? Yeah. All right, here's your first one, Lex. What should I do first? Okay, so how do I do that? Very good. If I subtract 3x from this side, it goes away. And when I subtract 3x from the other side, it appears. Okay? Just 2. Now we're going to divide each part of this thing by 2. And so the line I create is y is greater than or equal to -3/2 x plus 3. Now let's go ahead and graph that line. Nicolange, where do I start?
3 on the y.
Very good. And what's my slope?
3 -2. Or -3 2.
And what does that mean, though?
You go down 3 and to the right 2.
Down 3 and to the right 2. Aaron, is it a solid or a broken line? solid line going through these 2 points. And the region indicated is above it or below it? Aaron? Above it. Okay, but I'm not going to shade yet. All right, now let's look at the second line that we're dealing with. All right, Austin, what would you do first?
Let's see. Subtract marks from each side.
Okay, it disappears on the left and appears on the right.
Divide each side by -1.
Divide each side by a -1. So all the signs change. What else changes?
The sign of the little thing.
The inequality must also change because we divided both sides of an inequality by a negative number. Okay, so solid or broken line?
Solid.
Matt DuPont, where do I start? On the which axis? On the y-axis. Very good.
I get it now.
And Matt, what's the slope? And what does that mean? You go up 4 and you go to the right 1. Very good. And he already said it's a solid line. So I draw my solid line. Now it says less than. So should the shading be above or below? Below. But it's kind of hard to tell what below is. It's more like left or right. So is it to the right or the left? Don't get confused. The right. Because remember, if we were to take this line and flatten it out, which region is below it? This here. So keep your eyes on this region and look what happens when I send it back where it goes.
It's silly.
So your region is here. Okay? Now we identify all the little sections that we formed. Is it the top section, the bottom section, the left section, or the right section that needs to be shaded?
The right.
The right. Over here is where my arrows are pointed towards each other.
Oh, yes.
Okay? All right, now let's look at something else. We're still in this section, but we're dealing with a little bit different. What's the difference between these 2 functions? You need to be taking notes. 1 equals 3. I'm not talking to you.
Y x equals y and 1 x equals 3.
X is 3.
So that means y.
This is an absolute value function that looks like a V. It's not a parabola. This is 2 lines. It's 2 vertical lines. One of the vertical lines is found at x is positive 3, and the other one is where x is negative 3. Do y'all remember solving these from way back when? Well, you need to go back in your brain and your notes and find it. If we have the absolute value of a single letter, okay, we set up 2 equations, one equal to the positive, one equal to the negative. Do y'all remember now? Is it starting to come back to you? Okay, so this is 2 straight lines. This is a V up here, absolute value. Okay, now, watch this little cute Nipsey. Sorry, I hang around the man too much.
He's never put watch this little cute Nipsey don't want to.
Okay. If the absolute value of x, when there is no y, is vertical